Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. This is AliciaMarie Belshak, and I am coming to you live on our Tuesdays, Standing Firm When Your World is Shaking conversation. I am thrilled to be here with you and working through a few technical bugs as my camera is still not connecting. So we're going to do a podcast format for today. I may try to pull some things up on the screen and or get my other camera working on the phone. But in the meantime, I'm coming to you at a slightly different time. We have had some interesting things happening in our daily life here on this Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. Welcome to week 8. Can you believe it? We are in week 8 of having weekly conversations. Usually I come in the 10 o'clock hour Eastern time in order to bring hope and some reconnection with one another and really discuss. I'm hoping to make this a two-way street. So hi, welcome. Let's put some comments in the comment section on Facebook here because I can pull them up on screen and we can actually be having a two-way conversation. Because this is our time to connect and find out what's going on inside ourselves as well as what's coming through ourselves so that we can really learn to navigate the storms of life that are really a part of our daily experience, and even more so while we're dealing with the coronavirus. Wouldn't you agree? So, standing firm when your world is shaking is the right conversation at the right time to continue having. It's much more than just a program or anything like that. This is about us having connection and learning to navigate what it is we're dealing with. So tell me, put in the comments, where are you watching from? I see you out there. Hello, welcome. And my video isn't working the way I would love right now, but put a comment and I can put it on the screen and we can actually have a two-way conversation. So I had originally planned today to share with you a little bit about navigating the art of navigating stormy seas, essentially, and how to learn how to love the process and love yourself through the process and really love more because of the process. And I also felt like there's a big movement around what could be my number one tip that I could give you today. And I'm going to be honest that my number one tip is actually pretty darn simple, but not very easy to implement. Certainly not without a strong structure of support and a lot of tools at your disposal to continue navigating. So, put in the comments how you're feeling today, and let's bring to mind something that I find very, very powerful and really a, a shifter no matter what's going on, and that is gratitude. Can you bring some gratitude to this moment? What would you be most grateful for if you could be grateful for something? Perhaps it's just the fact that the sun is shining or that there is life happening all around me. I am dealing with a firestorm today of things that are just happening that I didn't expect. And so we may actually be pivoting the conversation a bit today because the phone is ringing, my camera's not working. We've had a few additional issues come up that we're going to have to deal with. So that is a great question to ask ourselves. What do you do when everything seems to be going wrong and not lining up with your expectations or taking you in a random and new direction? And the first thing we can do is stop and be grateful. There is an answer to every problem. It can feel really stressful. Today feels really stressful. But I know that there's just a multitude of things that have happened since 9 a.m. this morning, and we're going to work through them one at a time. And they involve other people, they involve a business, they involve getting the right information at the right time and making some really good decisions. So we start with gratitude because I can be grateful that I'm given this day of life and this problem, even this problem, to grow. I can be grateful that it's all going to work out, even as I've been stressed out and a little kind of on edge. I'm like grumpy and I'm like, and you know what? Maybe I should be grateful because I'm actually being handed a solution in the problem and I'm just kind of resisting it right now. I'm just not, this isn't what I really want. It wasn't ideal and it kind of sprung on me and everything's hurry up and do it today. And I'm like, this is my anniversary, by the way. So happy anniversary, which is why I wanted to talk about learning to love the process and learning to love through the process. Because today is my wedding anniversary for 19 years of marriage to, yes, the same person, believe it or not. And I wonder if I don't know if I have a wedding photo available, but I'll try to find one when we're talking here to pop it up here. But let's, learning to love through the process is really important too, because a lot of stuff can happen and go wrong, but it doesn't have to affect us in every given moment. So that's kind of the story for today. Today is my anniversary, and I would love to be able to just relax, get some things done, spend some time with my husband on his day off. But you know what? We have all these problems that have been cropping up today. So we're going to talk about learning to love the process of problem solving, of standing firm when your world is shaking, how to navigate those stormy seas of change. And let's love through the process too, because, I need to be reconnected with my spouse today. He needs that reconnection. Who in your life do you need to have some reconnection with? Because I'm going to guess that is necessary and what you need to be doing today. So let's take a big breath and have some gratitude and kind of shake off whatever we've brought to this moment and ask ourselves, what could we do to just focus for a minute on the good? We are navigating the tough stuff from life right now. There's people having business problems. There's people having job problems. There's people having health problems. There's people having family problems. There are relationship problems. I mean, there are problems in my laundry pile right now and in repair jobs. And look around. Where could you find all the things that could be going wrong? So I challenge you right now to look for something good. Just one thing that could be going right. Like for me, I'm here on this call, this time with you live, and I feel really grateful for that. So, what are you grateful for? Because when we begin to practice gratitude, we are in the process of starting to tame the chaos. We are in the process of starting to become the eye of the storm. And we don't have to feel grateful. We don't have to wait to feel grateful to be able to practice gratitude. So put in the comments, if you're willing, something you're grateful for, because I will be able to see that and pull it up on the screen and share with you what it is you're grateful for. And so this is the perfect conversation. And I just want to remind you, if you haven't already done this, share this with your friends, start a watch party, help invite your family to this. Usually I'm doing this around 10 a.m. Eastern time or thereabouts, because this conversation is so very vital. And I have a new link So you can go get show reminders when I go live, even if it's going to be a different time, you will know. And that is at this bit.ly link for Go Live Reminder SF, and that SF stands for Standing Firm. So you too can stand firm no matter what is facing you. So welcome. Whenever you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from, know that you are in the right place at the right time. This is exactly the right conversation for what's going on in the world and in your world. And I really would love to connect with you and stay in touch with you. I apologize. I will have to cut today's conversation a little short. We're going to do only about a half an hour here instead of a usual hour. So I just wanted to remind us, what possible good is there here or that could come because of this? So the problem that I'm facing today is that I have somebody in my life who's kind of like disrupted a bunch of things in the business world. And she also has a new person that wants to step in and take over her role. But she did that without asking me, without involving us, without going through the proper process or channel. And it created a bit of tizzy. I'll be honest. Where in your life have you had a little bit of tizzy lately? You know, what's causing you some tizzy in your life? You know, I call that the tizzy is like the whirlwind of stress, right? Um, what is it for you? I've had kids home. We've had school. We've had work and finances. So what's going on in your life? There's the phone again. So it's in the background. You're going to hear noises maybe in the background, but that's okay because this is life. This is life happening right now while we're live. Because what other way to be is there except to be live and living? So I really wanted to pivot my conversation today a little bit to really talk about this, because taming the chaos and becoming the eye of the storm, which are two hashtags I do use regularly. So go ahead and look them up if you're ever looking for some more inspiration. You know, there's some great content that I've put out there already around that. But we are learning to be the navigators of our own ship in stormy seas. So I guess I want to just jump right ahead, because really, you know, we got to look at this. What's creating the tizzy and the whirlwind of stress today? Those winds are going to be blowing, but how you act, react, and create in spite of it, because of it, in the midst of it, is going to determine where you end up. And it is even more powerful when you can decide in advance at least where that direction would be. What is the direction I would love to go in? Because there's something really, really powerful happening here. And that, like we said, is life happening. There is a great old saying, and I'm wondering if I can even find it in time to pull it up on the Facebook Live here. But there is this old saying that no ship, no sailor can navigate his ship to a direction he hasn't already decided. And that's really what we're talking about here. That's really what we're talking about here. So I'm just going to skip right ahead, because we're going to talk about navigating these stormy seas and learning to love the process and love through the process. So let me share a new screen. We're going to go to a couple of things going on. One thing I wanted to share is this is how I'm feeling. That's what's been going on for me. Today, I have been feeling the heat, the fire of pressure, problem, change, not having a strategy in place for dealing with what it is, and just stressed out. Okay, there's been a lot of things. And maybe you're feeling that way too. We're on week 8 of dealing with this. And in some places, it's 9, 10, 60 days or so of dealing with, for many people, a very new, scary, frightening, and disruptive time. But there is something that this reminds me of too in this moment, and that is this idea of perseverance, of moving forward anyway. And Napoleon Hill just says it really, really well here. If you find yourself lacking in persistence, this weakness may be remedied by building a stronger fire under your desires. So even when like everything is falling apart and you feel like you're under fire, and what's creating that whirlwind, that tizziness, spinning for some people, you can take a breath, you can pause, and you can refocus because there's something really powerful happening. And that is your ability to navigate all sorts of circumstance, condition that's maybe something you've never dealt with before, but you have the capacity to deal with it. And my mentor, Mary Morrissey, talks about it in these terms. The content of our lives is the curriculum for our evolution. So whatever content I'm experiencing today is my opportunity to grow, learn, be better, be bigger, tame the chaos that's both inside me and thereby taming the way the world works around me. Because when I'm the eye of the storm, I can see clearly and navigate clearly. Doesn't matter how loud the winds of the hurricanes, the whirlwind of life is all around me. When you're in the eye of the storm, you see the quiet, the calm, the clear, the sunny skies. And both are happening at the same time. Let's remind ourselves of that. So if you find yourself lacking in persistence in this moment, and you're just feeling worn out and you're feeling a little dragged out, a little stressed out, that's okay. That's normal. Our human conditioning has a limit. It's the limit of our growth up until now, of what we've been able to handle, the capacity that we've built. But just like going and training our muscles to be able to be stronger, we're doing that in our energy. We're doing that in our emotions. We're doing that in our mindset. And we have to start with, you are far more capable and far more powerful and far stronger than you even know. You can handle any condition. I can keep telling myself this morning that I can handle any condition. It doesn't mean I won't feel the fear or the frustration or the failure, but that I will move through it. And so that's really kind of where I wanted to go with some of this. And if I had a little more time, I would like to share with you some more tips about learning to love the process and love through the process. But the first thing to do is love yourself enough that you can take that step back. It's incredibly powerful. Super, super powerful. So I'm so grateful that you're here watching. And I just want to invite you to share this with whoever is in your world, because I'm looking for something to share on the screen. But while I'm doing that, go ahead and share with the people that you love, because there's something really important going on in this conversation that I really believe people need to hear. So I'm just going to go over to my Facebook page and do that too while I'm looking, because my technology is not being so fun with me today. So hold on a second. Here we go. I'm navigating the questions in my mind as I navigate through this, like how best to bring all this up. So, what is it you are struggling with today? What problem? What worry? What is it that you would like to see more of? What is it you would like to see less of? Because we first need to start with loving ourselves, but we also need to ask ourselves, what would I love? And what would love do in this moment? So, stay open to the possibility that it could all work out. So there are lots and lots of spring flowers going on right now in my yard, and I don't have the ability to show you all of them, unfortunately, but I would like to show you some of them as a sign of hope, that there is hope. There's hope in everything that we're doing. It just may not seem like it in the moment. But there is. There's hope here in this moment, and the flowers remind me of that so eloquently. Are able to check it out. Navigating the storm. What do you do? Okay, so I just want to show you these as a reminder that things have a growth period. Your dreams, your hopes, your desires, your aspirations have a growth period. They will bloom. There's a winter that we go through, but that dormancy period is actually needed. You have to take care of yourself. In the dormancy is when the muscles are actually growing. They're not growing when you're in the gym. They're being stretched to their limit and then beyond. But it's when you're sleeping that they're rebuilt. So we have to do a little damage, kind of tear up things a little bit, tear down things in your life. And this is what the storm is here to do for us. This is what it means to be standing firm when your world is shaking. You have to go through the teardown. You have to go through the fall of things appearing to be decaying and dying. And sometimes they're just going into dormancy and hibernation. But what will come on the other side is so important. And so you have to ask yourself, what would I love that to look like? And have a vision of where that's going to be going. Because spring is coming. We won't be stuck in this forever. And I'm grateful I have a beautiful garden to share, people. My tulips are blooming right now, but these are the daffodils. And they herald the spring with their beautiful trumpets. And they remind us that there's more beneath the surface that can give more life because they just start as bulbs. These are some pretty little bluebells and some hyacinth. And I share it just to remind ourselves that beneath the surface, there is something growing. We may actually be in the dormant phase where things are growing under the surface. And eventually we will get to this place where we will be able to flower and blossom and show off our colors. I don't know what that looks like exactly for you, but I know that you can look for the good. And it does. It really, really does bloom all around you. So this brings me to basically my number one tip in a nutshell that I wanted to share with you today for navigating extreme challenge. And that's the point of today when we are talking about being in week 8 of our Standing Firm conversation. How do I move powerfully through the storm? How do I be the sailor navigating my own experience? Well, I've given you a few tips today. I've talked about gratitude. I've talked about putting yourself in harmony with not the problem, but the solution. Going within to tame the chaos, realize that you can, and be the eye of the storm. So here's my number one tip. And it's going to sound a little simplified, oversimplistic, but it's so powerful. Not easy to implement by any means. It stretches us to the limit. But that's what the storm is here to do. And it's simply to do this. I'm going to type it in before I say it. Okay, my number one tip, drum roll. Never, never, never give up. That is way harder to do. And I'm not saying hold on so tightly to the ropes that we don't allow ourselves to be flexible in the wind. We absolutely need to go where the winds are blowing to some extent and be able to navigate through them. But as I said before, sailors tack in the wind. And that's a movement where you're going back and forth, on again, off again, until you find your path. So I apologize. I have to end shortly here. I've got a phone call that I actually need to take, but I wish you the very best. With all my love, never, never, never give up.